On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. They are going after this dude like nobody's business. Craziness happening. This dude's mom's even had to come into play and try to maybe smooth things out. It's a very interesting time that we're in right now, and it's very interesting on the ones that people focus most heavily on. And I don't know if it's because they find they're easier targets, or I think more likely that they're the bigger threat. The entire establishment is at serious risk of collapsing. And people like Hemseth are the type of people, well, him, Kash Patel, and a number of others, are the types of people that are definitely going to make that so. And the deep state's freaking out big time about it. Got a lot to talk about. I'm going to jump right into it and see if we can have some fun with this. I thought this was a great place to start. This gentleman, well, he's actually, I think, said some of the most astute observations that I've ever heard. He's talking about how so many of us, it's not so much a Democrat-Republican thing as much as narcissists versus empaths, as he calls it. Now, everybody, again, as he says, and he's going to do a great job explaining this, everybody has a little bit of narcissism in them. That's just totally common. But it's the extent to which that narcissism is able to mature. And he kind of covers that too. He does a really good job kind of breaking down what I think is really, truly what we're up against. I'm curious what you think. By the way, hit that thumbs up. Hit the subscribe if you're not already, and put some comments in regarding this. What do you guys think? Do you think it really is narcissists that we're going after? I think so.
Fine, since nobody else is saying it, and I'm the only one that freaking says it, and nobody else wants to acknowledge it because they're absolutely terrified of these people, but I'm not terrified of these people because I'm not made out of freaking 40% bitch. The Democratic Party and their platform, it is most geared towards narcissists. It is most geared towards people with heavy narcissistic traits. Don't you think it's a little bit weird how they keep accusing people of doing what they're doing to people? Hey, I hope you get what you voted for. You voted against your own best interest. Kamala lost because of sexism and misogyny. You guys are all uneducated. I hope you get what you voted for. We're gonna start a 4B movement and swear off men. Ladies, divorce your husbands and get ready to poison them. Guys, we haven't been arguing left versus right. We've been arguing empaths versus narcissists. That doesn't mean that every single Democrat has NPD, no. But narcissistic traits, we all have them in varying degrees. Begin in childhood through a combination of factors like overindulgence, excessive praise for superficial qualities. I really want you to pay attention to Kamala's voter demographics. I really want you to pay attention to Kamala's voter demographics. I don't think I need to say it a third time for you to understand that that's the gigantic context clue that you need to be looking at to understand why we have a narcissist problem in this country. A lack of emotional validation or experiencing trauma, which can lead a child to develop an inflated sense of self-importance and a need for constant admiration to feel valued. Again, look at Kamala's demographics. Look at her demographics. You tell me, which one of these demographics are given to overindulgence at an early age and being excessively praised for superficial qualities? Now, when it comes to her black vote, no, that wasn't narcissism, even though the black men were coerced. Let's be real about it. Black men, you know that if you voted any other way, your home life would have exploded. You were facing narcissism in your home life. There you go. I just gave you the answers to the test. You're going to reject it. Of course you're going to reject it because, well, me being right means a lot of horrible things in your personal life. And that's just too scary for you to cope with right now. And that's perfectly fine. Reject it if you will. I'm just trying to put power into your hands. I'm trying to give you more knowledge and control over what's been going on in your life. If you don't want to take it, I'm more than happy to take advantage of this knowledge and let you run around blind. I'll just consume you like the rest of them. Okay, fine. I couldn't leave well enough alone. Do you guys ever listen to somebody with NPD or psychopathy talk about children? They always refer to children as like property or pets. Which side of the aisle treats children like property or pets?
Yeah, and that's a big part of where we're at in the big picture, right? I think he said it beautifully. I think he nailed it, personally. I don't know. We'll see what you guys, when you mull it over and see what you think about it. FBI agents investigating the UAP drone sightings that have been happening all over the place. Well, there's some very disturbing news that's come out regarding this. Check this out.
I don't know who could have possibly done this.
Well, Will, one of the ships was in fact inspected by the Coast Guard, and they couldn't find anything. The thing is that there were several other suspicious ships in the region that they never got to. And Will, it gets worse. Just a couple of months earlier, there were several mystery drone flights over our nuclear testing range in Nevada, just north of Las Vegas. And again, nothing was done. And it gets even worse. Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes as if to say, hey, we know where you are. And so I really think that what this does is it boils down to an administration that doesn't take these threats seriously. You just had on the previous segment a drone attack on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's house. Of course, we've seen with Russia and Ukraine the utility of drones.
Right.
And yet, somehow we're preventing our warriors from defending their own bases by saying, oh, no, you need to get permission from the Attorney General or from Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas. No, that's wrong. Base commanders have an inherent authority within their command to defend their bases.
Well, why wasn't that done, Chuck? That'll be my final question for you. Okay, there's the issue of where these came from. The second, why wasn't anything done?
Well, the fear was there may be some collateral damage that could happen. They also wanted to use some of these advanced teams that they had, these anti-drone teams. There's only 2 of them. Mayorkas has not allowed more to be built. The problem with worrying about collateral damage is that any damage that would happen would be entirely the fault of the People's Republic of China. It's the People's Republic of China that's sending these drones into U.S. airspace, violating our airspace, just like they did with the spy balloon early last year that, as you recall, they never shot down until it got over the Atlantic Ocean.
Just to clarify on the way out, is that known then, Chuck? It's the PRC that flew these drones, or that's your suspicion?
It's my suspicion because they were large enough. They had to be nation-state actors. And I believe only Russia and China have the capability to do this. And given the financial state of affairs with Russia versus China, I'm 99.5% sure that these were the Chinese operating these drones.
Incredible. Absolutely needs to be followed, more understood about this future of warfare.
86.7% of all statistics are made up on the spot. So, I mean, again, there's that. But no, yeah, it's probably not Russia. Russia's got bigger fish to fry right now. China, hardcore spying on us. Obviously, Biden was paid large sums of money by China. I want to say it was $9 million, but I don't trust my memory always. But China's given the Bidens, through whatever LLCs they've got, large amounts of money. And gee whiz, the current commander-in-chief isn't doing anything about it. Now, again, for all the people out there that say Trump is commander-in-chief currently and has been for 4 years, I would say, really? Because if Trump was actually in charge, wouldn't he do something about it? Or do we let it happen so the people see? And in which case, did we let Afghanistan happen so the people would see? Did we allow 13 Americans to die so we could make a point? See, I have a hard time with that. And again, I don't know. But all of this has come from devolution and really the whole push by I want to say John Patel, but Patel Patriot. And again, love the dude. I love the dude. Absolutely have mad respect for him. And certainly what he's done with his organization, Badlands. Done a marvelous job. Marvelous job. So, again, I've got nothing bad to say about Patel Patriot. Love the dude. And I've been on a couple times with the dude. I like him a bunch. But a lot of what he has written has kind of sort of become gospel. And again, I just personally, I have a huge problem saying something's true when we literally have zero proof that it's true. Zero proof. We've got a bunch of speculation, a bunch of indirect proof, but it's not really proof. executive orders and stuff like that. It doesn't really prove anything. It does indirectly, maybe. Certainly coincidental or happenstance. And there's multiple 5D chess moves happening simultaneously that most of us probably aren't properly educated enough to even have a clue to make a fair guess. So again, it's a weird time. Obviously, bad stuff's happening. Obviously, there is a control struggle that's happening between the deep state and us getting control back. Obviously, Trump represents that. They're fighting that every possible way they can, aside from literally just bombing his house. Almost wonder if that's going to happen. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he would probably not be there when it occurred. That would be my guess. Here was Trump back in the day. This is going to bring back some fun memories of Trump talking about, what woke means.
Do you think that General Patton was woke? I don't think so. What do you think, Mike? Mike, was he woke? I don't think so. I don't think he was too woke. He was the exact opposite. You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit, okay? It's true. It's true. Look at what's happening. I got in a little trouble. I said that our women's soccer team was supposed to easily win, but they went woke, except for a few of them. I love those women that stood up and they saluted our flag. There were some of them. But the one with the purple hair, she didn't play too well. She went woke. You can have her.
You just watched Newsmax TV.
Yep. She went woke, and of course that was Newsmax. I guess that was playing this highlight. I don't want to take away their credit. Good on them. Newsmax has done an admirable job. Admirable. I'm not going to say much better than that, but admirable. Pretty good. ABC News staffers working in near decrepit building. Apparently got no Wi-Fi, no heat. Oh no. GMA ratings have tanked. They've done even worse now, actually. So they moved them out of their expensive building. So again, this is MSNBC, and it's funny, and I was realizing when I played Chuck Todd yesterday. I don't know if you guys remember that or if you saw yesterday's show. You should check it out. It was a good show. But he's NBC. He's not MSNBC. He's NBC. He's the flagship that they're suffering hardcore, and they know it's because of MSNBC. People equate the two. So the ABC people, which is very similar situation. I assume CBS is going to end up there too. These three news groups are just a mess. And a lot of people would be like, I hope Musk buys them. It's like, I hope they implode on themselves and then somehow some weird detritus gets on them and starts to eat them and then they just disappear. That's what I'd like to see happen. There's still plenty of news agencies out there. They don't all need to make it through this, just like all 17 intelligence agencies don't necessarily need to survive, right? So let some of this shit die. Let some of it fall off the vine and let bugs eat it. I don't give a crap, but it certainly isn't worth buying. It's a tainted, nasty, gross representation and should serve as that reminder always rather than somebody having to try to turn that around. That'd be a crap ton of money you'd have to spend just in trying to get people to believe it. Or someone really famous buys it and then maybe a lot of us would just start watching because of that, but still. Like, we don't need that. I think some of these other groups are going to go down anyways. We're the media now. We don't need these organizations. We got individuals doing a fine job. Some of these individuals can work together, or sometimes there'll be people that like to get out and do the investigating, and then they can do the reports. Like, we're going to build our own networks, and we are to a large extent. Mine has not taken off like I hoped, but it's slowly happening. Got a number of people that reach out to me and ask me to check out all their stuff, and it's cool. Got a lot of people, but yeah, I had visions of glory and grandeur that just never even came close to coming to fruition. Obviously, that was not God's plan. That was my plan. So, yeah, I just kind of backed away from that a lot. It's a trip. But we are getting there, and I think that's part of the problem is I was maybe thinking too far ahead. Like, I'm still surprised where we're at kind of in the scope of the big picture. I still think we got some weird things coming, but who knows? MSNBC, they're hitting a new low themselves. ABC obviously crashing. MSNBC majorly crashing. So amongst the coveted age group, 25 to 54, which I cover part of, by the way, I got a pretty solid, I would say 40 to 55, or 40 to 54. I got a good chunk there. I think I lose people earlier in that, and I think I got some older folks too, but you guys are, you're outside the demo. It's all said. But it's lowest rated non-holiday week ever. Well, in 20 years, I think. 38,000 viewers only. MSNBC. This is 100% why I keep talking about every time they say something stupid, you shouldn't play it. Right? There has to be a damn good reason for me to play MSNBC. And I do sometimes, rarely. I see 98% of the stories hit the cutting, well, they don't even hit the cutting room floor. They don't even make it to the table, They're not stupid story. They're just trying to spin something. 38,000 viewers. 38,000 key demographic viewers. Only. There is over 300 million people in this country, and they got 38,000. Shit. I probably get 38,000 of this coveted demo of views on every video I do. Me. And I'm growing. One day I'll be a big, giant stud. Whatever. It is what it is. It's perfect right now. Even I come close to pulling that number. 38,000 is ridiculous. And again, this isn't even live. This is just overall viewers. Averaged viewers. They are dying. Now, a lot of illegal stuff happening from Joe Biden. This is kind of disappointing. It's kind of what's happening. But here's Speaker Johnson talking about, the idea of getting more money for Ukraine.
Last week, Biden administration requested to attach to upcoming CR additional aid to Ukraine, $24 billion. Do you planning to do that? What is your position?
I'm not planning to do that. There are developments by the hour in Ukraine. I think, as we predicted, and as I said to all of you weeks before the election, if Donald Trump is elected, it will change the dynamic of the Russia war on Ukraine. And we're seeing that happen. So it is not the place of Joe Biden to make that decision now. We have a newly elected president, and we're going to wait and take the new commander-in-chief's direction on all of that. So I don't expect any Ukraine funding to come up now.
Zero Ukraine funding, I hope. Now, again, we still got the 20th looming in the distance. This is literally, I'll just play a little bit of it, long enough for him to sort of wake back up and then show exactly how exhausted he is. This is, quote unquote, the guy that's running around trying to give as much of our money away. He gave another $1 billion to Africa, which again, Africa definitely could use it. Who we're giving it to? It's going to be a bunch of deep state friggin' thugs. No. I don't want Joe Biden being involved in anything. I don't trust him at all. And gosh golly, more than 50% of the country doesn't trust him either, or stupid Kamala. Whatever. Here's Joe Biden, literally asleep at the wheel.
With the U.S. in support of the development of the Lobito Corridor. Tanzania views the Lobito Corridor as an integral part of a broader strategy to enhance connectivity in Africa. We also appreciate the fact that the implementation of the project will provide important opportunities for Africa's development in sectors such as agriculture.
All right. For those of you that were watching like podcast style, right? You were just listening. That literally all of that time the dude was talking, his eyes closed at the beginning, his eyes barely opened at the end, or for my Hispanic friends, his eyes burly opened. Burly opened. All that time. Wow. So glad. Thank God he's around. Woo. Oh, man, I didn't feel safe for half a second. House Education Chair demands Biden admin nix blatantly illegal. Latest student loan scheme. Yeah. There's like, this is extraordinarily illegal. No, get rid of it. House Education Committee Chairwoman Virginia Fox is ripping the outgoing Biden administration. This is ridiculous. Fourth scheme is just as legally dubious as the prior Biden-Harris administration attempts to cancel student loan borrowers' debts, but have the American taxpayers pick up the tab. Literally, they're not just canceling it. They're making you and I pay for it. So these people got to get, I'm going to be a little hyperbolic for fun. These people got to get Ivy League education, be able to go out there and make hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and they want us to pay for their education. Yeah. They're probably going to work for the government if they play their cards right. In punishment for shareholder decision, judge with Biden ties orders Musk's Tesla to pay plaintiff lawyers $18,000 per hour. This is insanity. Insanity. So imagine this. You start a company, and you and your investors agree that if the business hits a specific target, Trump's done this for sure, if it hits a specific target within a time frame, you get paid. You get money. You get a stock bump. You get to sell some of your stock, whatever. Now picture this. Your shareholders not only approve the compensation plan once, but twice. 2 good times. Yet, the man with 9 shares of the company decides to sue over the compensation package, and a judge with ties to President Joe Biden's political circle not only rules in of the individual with 9 shares, but orders your company to pay an exorbitant legal fee. That's what happened to Tesla's CEO and founder Elon Musk. Even though 77% of Tesla's shareholders approved the compensation package in June 2024, Chancellor Kathleen St. Jude McCormick of Delaware ruled shareholders didn't know enough when they voted twice, and that Tesla's board was not independent enough for the compensation package to hold. Not independent enough, the judge decided. To boot, McCormick awarded plaintiff lawyers $345 million in legal fees, which comes out to roughly $18,000 per hour, because Tesla had great lawyers and forced the plaintiff lawyers to actually work. So the action was complex, yada, yada. Plaintiff faced some of the best law firms in the country who put plaintiff through the paces. Delaware judge just overturned. This is, again, Delaware, that didn't want Musk to move his incorporation out of Delaware. Again, this is the deep state. This is part of what we're fighting. Thank God these billionaires can do it. They can afford it. We can't. Not even close. None of us could. We wouldn't survive this at all. They'd destroy us. I'm putting DOJ in it. This is Josh Hawley put this out. I'm putting DOJ and FBI on notice. Don't shred a single document. Don't delete a single file. Accountability is coming. The Judiciary Committee will investigate and find out who authorized spying on Christians, attackers on profilers, the vendettas against Trump, all of it. Now, what he's kind of referring to is some of the information that's been out there, and we've talked a little bit about it. But he specifically wrote a letter that kind of covers it well. It said, Dear Attorney General Garland and Director Wray, I have received reports that, under your leadership, DOJ and FBI employees are destroying records and other documents in an effort to conceal the widespread misconduct that took place under the Biden administration. You must immediately stop this attempt to evade accountability and should terminate any employees involved. Further, you must preserve all department and bureau documents in anticipation of congressional investigation to come, or investigations to come. Under your leadership, the DOJ and FBI have engaged in unprecedented abuse of the justice system, ranging from the criminal prosecution of President-elect Trump to bad faith prosecutions of pro-life Americans for peacefully protesting abortions and attempts to recruit undercover informants in Catholic parishes. This is a sordid track record, and the American people deserve the truth about how it happened and who was involved. We need to clean this up. So we'll see. We'll see. He says more, but that's the brunt of it. Judge in Hunter Biden tax case blasts Joe for rewriting history as he slams the son's pardon. Now, what's kind of fun about this is not only does he slam it, and we'll see, hopefully I can get to the quotes that are worthy of reading, but also he kind of wrote it into the record, which means it's legally out there that the Bidens lied, that Joe Biden kind of made things up, that this judge brought in by Trump very much disagrees with this. Now, that's part of the problem here, or part of the solution, or part of the whatever. The judge brought in by Trump, the judge was being fair and so allowed this case to move forward properly to see what happened. Hunter Biden admitted to not paying his taxes. And the whole gun thing, I mean, all said, factually speaking, I mean, I kind of share the same agreement that it necessarily shouldn't have been brought forward, but I get under the context of everything, yeah, it should have. It's what started the ball rolling. It was illegal. It was a felony. And so, therefore, let's the games begin. Political, maybe, or was it more an issue of trying to demonstrate that, because they continued to attack Trump forever, right? They attacked him for everything. And yet we're never able to convict him. Well, some bullshit convictions, but whatever. They were never able to convict him of any real serious crime. They had to make crimes up. They had to manufacture crimes. They had to turn misdemeanors into felonies. They had to do a lot of things. They had to change laws so they could do it. They had to rig the whole entire court part of it to let salacious stuff out, to keep Trump from actually being able to demonstrate what the property's worth and how real estate actually works, or the fact that legal expenses are, quote, legal expenses. When you pay money to a lawyer, it's a legal expense, not a campaign thing. So all of it's crazy. So District Judge Mark Scarsi in Los Angeles indicated he would dismiss the case once the pardon is formally received, and he wrote a blistering 5-page order. Scarsi savaged multiple aspects of the pardon, however, and was critical of the president's assertion that his son was singled out for political reasons, saying 2 judges had rejected similar arguments from his defense attorneys. Quote, "The president's own attorney general and Department of Justice personnel oversaw the investigation leading to the charges." Scarsi wrote that Biden's pardon can only mean that, in the president's estimation, this legion of federal civil servants are unreasonable people, end quote. The Justice Department special counsel, for its part, was opposed to dismissing the case filed in California after Hunter Biden failed to pay $1.4 million in taxes. He gets a tax break, but we don't. Scarsi also suggested that the pardon may be unconstitutional because of its specific dating back to January 1st, 2014, which some have theorized may be to protect Hunter's actions on behalf of Ukrainian gas company Burisma. I am 100% sure that in the future, the Biden pardon is definitely going to end up in the Supreme Court. 100% sure. It'll happen. You watch. It'll be at a weird time, too. It'll be perfect. I mean, it'll be perfect, and we'll probably see it coming. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to, come swinging. Oh, it's not going to come like Tarzaning in, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's more likely to happen for sure than the Brunson case, and that still may happen. That could be. We'll see. We'll see. We're heading in the direction where that might become possible. So, yeah, he wrote some pretty scathing stuff. Hunter Biden accused of owing over $300,000, or owing, over $300,000 in unpaid rent. Dude that they owe the money to is like, is that pardoned now too? Now that's not a federal crime. I don't believe that can be pardoned, and I don't think you can see jail time for it. I mean, you could certainly put a lien on him, see him in court for that. So it is what it is. But yeah, Sean McGuire, a private venture capitalist from Sequoia, responded to this, being a little tongue-in-cheek, probably. Biden admin moves to complicate Donald Trump's purge of the deep state. They're desperately trying to keep this from happening. So agreements are designed to complicate Trump's stated goal of civil service reform, or, as he puts it, purging the deep state. The contract terms can restrict federal agencies' discretion over employee management. The latest example of Biden's administration's implementing this tactic is at the Social Security Administration. It has already performed or is working towards similar changes at the Environmental Protection Agency that the Supreme Court just recently shot down, and the Department of Justice, which we all know is corrupt beyond words. So they're trying to lock people in. Again, reasonably sure that predecessors cannot lock down coming presidents. That's just something that's never really happened before like that, has it? Yeah. Whether or not they even relent control on January 20th is still up in the air, folks. We have a long ways to go, and if we can hold our line properly through this, yeah, it could get a little saucy. It should be fun. It should be fun. We'll see. We'll see. Again, who knows? I keep turning. Anyway, I'm not even looking at it. I can't even see it anymore now. It's brutal. All said, there's a lot of things happening in the world. One of the things that causes a little concern for me is the economy, how it's going to play out. Inflation being insane. It's gone up 25%, or we've lost 25% of our buying power in the last 4 years. Right now, we are going in debt at an extraordinarily fast level. Now, these things are going to be adjusted, but you can see the fight going on. And the system is reasonably fragile. You pull on a couple strings, and all of a sudden, the whole sweater's unraveled. I just don't personally feel comfortable in the way the stock market and dollar are right now. I feel like they're going to get better in the not too distant future, but I think they're probably, personally, and this is how I've managed my life, probably going to get ugly over the coming periods here. And again, before Trump even gets into office, I'm still curious, but that could just be me thinking that things need to happen faster than maybe they do. I mean, they're going to try to blame Trump either way, right? So maybe they wait till he gets in office. Maybe it's like a last straw. Maybe it's just the fact that they can't literally keep the thing afloat anymore because Trump's cut off all the money and he's going to let it fall to the ground. Don't know. Again, they're going to do everything they can, I think, to help protect us, but you can protect yourself right now and during times of crisis historically, and you can go back and look. The prices of silver have always spiked whenever there's financial crisis, always, and then it comes back down. Gold, since we decoupled from the gold-backed currency, has continued to go up. And then every time we have a crisis, it spikes and kind of just stays there. And then it goes up further and stays there. And right now, we're kind of going up at a pretty major vertical. It implies that there's a problem right now happening. And the fact that gold and silver are getting more expensive is, one, good, because if you're invested in it, especially those of you that got in over a year ago especially, you're stoked. Those of you that haven't gotten in yet, you're probably like, well, what's the point? The point is, it's still probably going up quite a bit. We don't know for sure. I can't promise. I don't have a crystal ball, but it's spiking. And silver is definitely below where its cap is hit multiple times. So silver's definitely got some room for growth for sure. And gold, it's just going crazy right now. And the economy's not necessarily getting better. So I think right now is a time where still getting in is a good thing. And getting out of that system that's wobbling like a top that's about to fall might be a better thing too. You can get out tax-free and penalty-free. That's key. That means you're going to keep as much of your money as you can. Now, I'm a Gold Co partner. I'm part of this. You're going to be helping the channel, of course. But on top of that, there's all sorts of steps that happen through this. So there's some fees and stuff like that. I'm going to be honest. There's some fees and everything that comes through it. But here's the thing. You're getting out of their system, and you're getting into something that's actually spiking because of the uncertainty. And again, you're getting physical metals. They put it in a trust. Every step of that just requires people. It's just kind of how the game's played. You can stay in the system and risk it, especially if you're with someone that's managing your portfolio. If you've got a personal stock guy or person or woman or whatever, I'd honestly probably consider staying there and just make sure you have talks with them. I've talked to the guy that's got a little bit of money of mine, not a lot, but it's a guy. I got out of Fidelity. That's what I did. I got out. I got a little bit of money put in with someone. I bought some Rumble stock. Same dude helped me. It just comes down to making sure, at least in my case, he understands that I'm concerned about what's happening. And he's like, yeah, no, I hear you. So make sure you're doing the best you can to protect yourself. I'm telling you, Gold Co can help you do this, and it's a pretty quick and easy way to do it. Protect you, put you in precious metals. Go to drslikesgold.com. It's drslikesgold.com. Their system is what it is. I don't think it's getting better, and certainly when we look at inflation, that's not getting much better. And even whatever Trump does, hopefully he can curb it. And we can cut some of the fat off so we can slow down the deficit, but we're still going in the wrong direction, and it needs to change in a big way. Now, again, I've talked before, Trump's a major bankruptcy dude. He's been through a number of bankruptcies. He's like the guy. If we're going to go bankrupt as a company, which is the United States Corporation, yeah, he's the dude I want at the helm. And that changes a lot of things too. There's a lot of things to think about. I would seriously go to drslikesgold.com. At least get the information. Up to, by the way, up to 10% of whatever the face value of your IRA or 401k is, up to 10% of that. Free silver they're giving you. It's on the site. 4 data points. Get the ball rolling. Get the information. Find out what's up. Find out what's in front of you. And make some decisions. If you're going to decide to go with this, Goldco's awesome. They're going to help you through it, and their customer service is bar none. So keep those things in mind because these factors will matter when it comes down to it. They've also got a number of suppliers for precious metals, so fulfilling your contract shouldn't be a problem either. They're really good at this. They're very good at this. 5 stars and everything. They may not believe the crazy crap I talk about, but they're extraordinarily good at what they do. And that's why I trust them, because they are going to do what I need them to do. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Let them do that same thing. Let them help you. I'm a customer too. I've bought precious metals from them. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. Judge has nixed former Trump aide's bid to dodge deposition questions from President-elect and plaintiffs in a January 6th lawsuit. It's kind of a confusing story. And at first, Trump was against it, and then he was for it. But this is all about Dan Scavino. They're trying to bring him into this January 6th Capitol thing, this investigation still. I mean, they've been fighting this for 4 years, basically. And essentially, at this point in time, Dan Scavino's like, look, here's the thing. The immunity clause that the Supreme Court already said is reason for this not to happen. So they've just been trying to delay. Whatever the case is, it's not happening as quickly as the plaintiffs want it to. And at first, like I said, Trump was fighting it, but then now he has no real statement in the matter. They were having a hard time serving Dan Scavino. Like, there's just a whole slew of weird crap going on in this. Apparently, Dan finally got in with them. They were talking like today he would potentially be showing up because he responded on Monday, and they're saying that this deadline for discovery is the 4th, which would be today, and they kept referring to Tuesday in this article, which would be today. I'm assuming this was written the 3rd, so yeah. I mean, it would almost have been smart to say tomorrow, but they say Tuesday because it's less specific. I get it. You don't want to date your material. I think it's good to do it, frankly, and partially just because I do news. This might surprise you a little. This it's just part of the argument of the whole fight that they're trying to have in front of the Supreme Court for the transgender and administering puberty blockers to children. Now, many people would say, well, the kids already understand what's up, and that's why they push, and this guy's going to say that with his kind of weird voice. But the other side of it, too, is there's a lot of questions about the efficacy of these drugs, the long-term effects of these drugs. And although this person would state that, no, they're totally safe, that's really not true. We don't have a lot of long-term data. We have some, because I will say, I'll give 2 examples. I'll give at least one. Pink, and who's the other one I was thinking of? There's another one of these people. I also think Rachel Maddow, by the way, is the same. I do believe these are boys that were transitioned at super early ages, like at the age of 2. And so they're not technically girls, but they are far from boys. I mean, they've been mutated heavily. I'm trying to think who the third. There's a second musician that I think very much is. I'm drawing a blank on who it is. But whatever. Pink is a good example. That'll work. And I have no disrespect for Pink. I actually like her music, but I actually think we don't appreciate what these families are like, these satanic families, and then they have children, and these children may not want to be satanic children, but just happen to be, and the parents don't really have respect for them, certainly do. There's a number, I've heard it's either A, you sacrifice the child, literally their lives, or the sex change is the other option. So there's some very strange stuff, and it's very much of that, sacrificing your children, which I know people get mad when I bring it up, but it's just certain books I've read that talk about doing that kind of stuff. It's weird. Like, it's not okay. It's not okay to ever, even just to test somebody to see if they're loyal to you, to say, hey, I need you to kill your firstborn. Like, no, that's not even okay. That's not even, you're not allowed to have that as a rule. Not allowed to put that piece on the board like that. No, that's insane. Mike Benz talking about Ukraine and the craziness that's going on over there. I obviously Trump's going to make it better, but Biden's are trying to make it worse. So here's some pretty solid discussions on the bigger picture.
Look at something called the Red Lines memo, which is I think I have it near the top of my X account, or you can look for just the phrase Red Lines memo, and you will see Zelensky's first month in office, he was given a threat letter effectively by the U.S. State Department, where they had something like 70 U.S. funded NGOs who wrote a letter to Zelensky ordering him not to cross the below listed red lines, or else there will be political instability in your country. Now, political instability in the country caused by the U.S. State Department is the reason Zelensky ultimately became president. The 2014 coup in Ukraine was U.S. and U.K. orchestrated political instability to have a January 6 style mob destabilize the government and literally run it out of the country. And they gave him red lines on every single aspect of what he could do as president. Security red lines, cultural red lines, energy policy red lines.
What were these red lines, like cultural red lines?
So, for example, that he could not allow the use of Russian language to be aired on any of the major Ukrainian media channels. This was part of a drive by the U.S. State Department in tandem with the censorship work that started at that same time in order to prevent the sort of affinity, the sort of Russian affinity network that happens because of Russian propaganda spreading from Russian language news sources, and to try to pry the country off of the Russian ethnic faction and have essentially the Ukrainian dialect.
This is in response for what happened in Crimea?
Yes, and Crimea and the Donbass, the whole eastern side breakaway. But this is effectively the long arm of Langley, the long arm of the State Department and CIA, telling Ukrainians that they can't, what kind of language they can use in their own country. Ukraine was effectively forced to transfer over its education ministry to an EU commissioning body so that Russian adjacent mythologies couldn't be taught in the country. They were told what industries they needed to privatize and to block any attempt to maintain sovereign control of those energy assets. This is ultimately what gave rise to the Burisma scandal, by the way, and the Hunter Biden State Department affairs that ran through all of that, which is a whole other fascinating topic, I should add. But the fact
I'd love
is,
to get back to that. Yeah. But
this is every aspect of Ukrainian society effectively top-down controlled by democratic institutions funded by the U.S. government, when it's stock standard that the only reason we do that, he who pays the piper calls the tune. They're being funded to exert this soft power issue, this soft power force on the Ukrainian government, and Zelensky knows that force, because the only reason he occupies the power that he does is because that force ushered him in through the sequence of events from Yatsenyuk in 2014 through up to him. And so the issue is those are the institutions. By the way, that whole thing was run through something called the Ukraine Crisis Media Center, which is effectively a suite of media institutions in the area that are CIA conduits, like the Kiev Independent, which is funded by the National Endowment for Democracy. The National Endowment for Democracy is one of the most pernicious forces in the entirety of the censorship industry. And you were talking with Mark Andreessen about NGOs and their role in internet censorship. And, he was, I think, fleshing out sort of the concept of a GONGO, a government-organized, non-governmental organization.
Yeah, just the craziness of how this is all playing off. And how, just the lies, the money that's moving around. Tucker Carlson back in Moscow is going to be interviewing Russia's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov. That should be actually very, very cool.
There must be someone.
Here's a little 2-minute snippet of Tucker talking about this.
In the week since we left Russia, Moscow, where we are now, in February, after interviewing Vladimir Putin, we've watched from the United States as the Biden administration has driven the U.S. ever closer to a nuclear conflict with Russia, the country that possesses the world's largest nuclear arsenal. It has accelerated ever since, and it's reached its apogee so far in the weeks after Trump's election. He is now the president-elect. In that time, just a few weeks ago, the Biden administration, American military personnel launched missiles into mainland Russia and killed at least a dozen Russian soldiers. So we are, unbeknownst to most Americans, in a hot war with Russia, an undeclared war, a war you did not vote for and that most Americans don't want, but that is ongoing. And because of that war, because of the fact that the U.S. military is killing Russians in Russia right now, we are closer to nuclear war than at any time in history. Far closer than we were during the Cuban Missile Crisis. That would mean the elimination of Russia, the United States, and most of the rest of the world. We felt there must be someone behind the scenes in Washington working to make sure that this conflict doesn't become a nuclear holocaust. But we found out that no, in fact, there is nobody. Tony Blinken, the current Secretary of State, cut off all contact between the U.S. and Russian governments. There is no back channel, there is no conversation, and there hasn't been for more than 2 years. That's shocking. Meanwhile, most Americans have no access to any perspective other than that granted to them by NBC News and the New York Times. They don't know how close we are. They don't know the Russian perspective. We've been trying for over a year to get that perspective out to American news consumers. We've also tried for over a year to get an interview with Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. We've attacked that from a bunch of different angles. We've spoken to a lot of different people around him, had dinner with them. We've been in talks continuously, and those efforts have been thwarted by the U.S. government. The American embassy in Kiev, which our tax dollars pay for, told the Zelensky government, no, you may not do the interview. You can talk to CNN, you can't talk to us. So we've been unable to speak to him. So we came back to Moscow yesterday to interview the foreign minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, the longest serving foreign minister in the world. He's been a part of this government for 25 years. He's been in the diplomatic corps for over 40. And ask him, where exactly are we? Are we headed toward an unprecedented conflict between Russia and the United States? Is there any way to peel Russia back from the east, from the sphere of China, back into the west? Is that alliance permanent? And does the election of Donald Trump mean an end to this war, which is reshaping the world, the U.S. economy, the global economy, and risking the life of every person on this planet? Is that possible? We just walked out of that interview. It's absolutely fascinating. It's coming very soon. We hope you'll watch.
Look forward to hearing it, too. Look forward to it. That's full shizzle. Russian warship fires at German helicopter. Kinda. Of course, Daily Mail taking it really far. They should have actually put the truth in the headline, but where's the fun in that? But they fired signal ammunition. Now, if it hit the helicopter in a specific place, like it could, but essentially it's a flare. They shot a flare directly at him, basically saying, dude, this is a warning fire. Next one's an actual bullet. And then they get on and they're like, oh, helicopter, that's talking the way you are. Like, they tell him, you need to get away fast. Like, it's done. So, yeah, this war, it's a German aircraft trying to elicit fire. You guys, this is exactly what false flags are built on. Germany doesn't care about the crew of this aircraft. They know if they accomplish their goal, they'll sacrifice everyone on board as well as the aircraft. Why? Because they're praying that Russia shoots them down. If that happens, it's World War III. Why do you think they want World War III so bad? Again, drslikescold.com. Why do you think they want World War III so bad? They're trying. They're trying to cause it. They're not trying to keep us safe. They've got bunkers. All these people will go underground in their little escalators. That's it. Done. You won't see them again. And yeah, you'll be dead soon. They don't give a crap about us. And yet, this is who they keep blaming. The boogeyman. The Booba Yaga. Bill Malugin says that the reports of Trump seriously considering Ron DeSantis for Secretary of Defense are accurate. I have seen everything under the sun regarding this story. It's not true. It's true. All right, this guy's supposedly got evidence from somebody that says it is true. But actually, when you listen to the report,
he obviously has
it doesn't really say it's true as much as says they're talking about it. It's just not the fucking same thing. Pisses me off. This story pissed me off too, especially.
who confirms that the Wall Street Journal report that came out last night, which says Trump is looking at replacing Pete Hegseth with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. I'm told that report is accurate, that Trump and DeSantis met face-to-face yesterday right here in Palm Beach at an event for fallen law enforcement and talked about this, and that Trump is, quote, seriously considering replacing Hegseth with DeSantis. So here's a little bit of what the Wall Street Journal reported last night. Quote, Trump's allies increasingly think Hegseth may not survive further scrutiny, according to people close to the president-elect's team, which considers the next 48 hours to be crucial to his fate. Now, when you're talking about DeSantis, we don't know if he would want to leave his role as the governor of Florida, but he obviously has a military background. As for Hegseth, he's been in a bit of turmoil recently with articles coming out about him and his past personal life. His mom was defending him on Fox and Friends earlier this morning, but Hegseth has been on Capitol Hill all week long meeting with senators, and Trump senior advisor Jason Miller voiced support for Trump's nominees, including Pete Hegseth, when he was talking to Fox's Martha McCallum. Take a listen.
Feeling very good about the nominees, and as they have these one-on-one meetings, we're getting really good feedback. They're getting such good feedback because people realize these are highly qualified individuals. You take someone like Pete, for example, 2 Bronze Stars, was in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Absolutely.
That's the kind of person you want running the DOD.
And we're told Hegseth is on Capitol Hill once again this morning. He just had a little bit of a media scrum a bit ago where he told the media he is not withdrawing his name from consideration, that he talked to President-elect Trump this morning, and that Trump told him to keep fighting. More to come as we learn it, Stuart. We'll send it back to you.
That's for shiz. That's for shiz. So, yeah, Pete Hegseth's mom, Penelope, rips the media for publishing email calling him an abuser and issues plea to Trump. Like, first off, like, no offense, like, at all. I mean, I love the fact that his mom is coming up, but come on. Like, the moms are, with the exception of some people, the moms are always the ones that support their kids. Mine not, but mine called me Hitler, but it's different. It's different. Most people's moms they're always the one after the child's like a serial killer. And they're like, he'd never do that. Like, always. Even though they're wrong, they're screaming it as the son's being marched off to the gas chamber. So Pete's like, I'm doing this for the war fighters. He talks about it here. I'm going to play this because it's reasonably short and pretty solid. So check this out.
And a wonderful process to go through and meet with senators and talk to them, especially members of the Senate Armed Services Committee, whose passion is the Defense Department, and our war fighters, to hear what they want to do to make sure that department is properly oriented for the threats of the world and make sure that we're putting the warfighters first. That's what Donald Trump asked me to do. Your job is to bring a warfighting ethos back to the Pentagon. Your job is to make sure that it's lethality, lethality, lethality. Everything else is gone. Everything else that distracts from that shouldn't be happening. That's the message I'm hearing from senators in that advise and consent process. It's been a wonderful process. As far as everything else, I had a chance to sit down with Megyn Kelly today for an hour. I refer you to that interview. She asked probably all the questions you guys would like to ask.
Yeah, and he's like, you, STFU, because you guys suck anyway, and you're going to misquote this and bite me and suck it. And which, I don't even know which one I'd say. This is pretty fun. O'Keefe Media is, they've busted. What company is this? I forget what company this is that they're busting. Maybe it says in here. Exposed Pentagon official. Oh, yeah, in this case, Pentagon official. I've got another story down here we got some weird shit that happened in the last 24 hours. Holy crap. Anyway, here's O'Keefe Media talking about this particular craziness.
There's this show, and it's based upon this guy, James O'Keefe.
Yeah.
And I think the organization was Project Veritas.
Oh, Project Veritas.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah.
I actually found an episode that was based upon something he did in actually the Department of Defense.
Really?
Yeah. Check this out. It's called Inside the Pentagon, and you're in the episode, and you're caught on tape as part of this undercover investigation, and the person that recorded you is actually James O'Keefe.
Gotcha.
I'd like to do some work on the state's monopoly on violence. Repealing the Second Amendment for sure.
Very interesting. There you have this guy inside the Department of Defense. He's walking pretty fast, actually. Come on, guys.
I'll admit that when I don't wear my glasses, I take them off, but I part of me doesn't want to. I look horrible. I mean, I kind of look horrible. I get like bags, not bags. My eyes are like sunk in. Like I'm getting old, man. That's all there is to it. And yeah, the glasses I think actually maybe protect me a little. But I don't know if they affect it that much. I've taken them off before on the air. It's like to wipe my eyes. Sometimes you get like an eye booger that's just got to be dealt with. It's got to be, whether you're recording live or not. I also like the fact that he just takes them off. He's like Clark Kent. Really? Friggin' glasses? You guys don't recognize? Really? I used to, as a quick side, who cares? But I used to work at a hospital when I was younger, and I had to wear a hairnet because I worked in food nutrition. And so one of the joys of that is, like, if my hair was showing, people didn't recognize me. Like, literally, I'd go upstairs and be like, hey, how you doing? They're like, and they'd look at me funny, and then I'd cover my hair like this, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, hey, hi. It was a weird thing. So, yeah, people are strange when you're a stranger. Devin Nunes talking about cash.
So it was essentially reverse.
Patel, I actually asked my Indian friends this morning, it's kashap, is how they said it, kashap. So you say it fast, is how kashap is said, kashap. They said it like, there's two of them that said it like twice, kashap, and pretty sure I'm saying it correctly, kashap. So if you want to say it properly, yes. If not, just call him Cash Patel. It's so much easier. It's probably why Cash did it growing up in the States and just realizing people are retarded here and can't frickin' say foreign names. You change your name so you don't have to like over and over and over and over. Like it just, yeah, sucks. But all said, Kashep is someone worth talking about right now.
Would we have learned about the Steele dossier? Would we have learned about FISA abuse? Would we have learned about Fusion GPS were it not for Cash Patel, yourself, and that small group of people?
I think that's exactly right. And the team that Trey and I worked with, Cash Patel was the lead investigator in this, and he was maligned for it. And Trey is right to point out the fake news media, but also don't forget, we were investigating the FBI and DOJ. Well, we found out just a year or two ago that the FBI and DOJ actually turned on our staff, not only my staff, but also Senator Chuck Grassley in the Senate, the people that were investigating the DOJ and the FBI, including Cash Patel. The FBI went and got their email. So it was essentially reverse spying on Congress. So the other thing I would say, and I would actually, Sean and Trey, you can actually participate in this too. But do you know, just the other night, I had a former FBI agent come up to me. This was before Cash, was out to dinner with my family, before Cash had been appointed by the president. And he says, boy, I sure hope President Trump appoints that Cash Patel. I think he's doing a heck of a job. I want him to be the next FBI director. The FBI director, or the FBI needs to be cleaned up. Now, I've had countless conversations like that over the last 8 years from current and former FBI agents. You know how many times an FBI agent has come up to me and said the opposite, that said, oh, McCabe and Comey and these guys were great, and Cash Patel and Gowdy are wrong. You know how many times? Zero. 0 times has that happened. And I bet I've had dozens and dozens and dozens across this country of FBI agents begging for this agency to get cleaned up, and I think that's what Cash Patel will do. I think it starts with, we've had 20 years of the FBI getting bigger and bigger and bigger in Washington and more politicized. You notice all the big stories, where do they come out of? They either come out of Washington, D.C., or they come out of New York. Now look, last time I checked, we have millions of people pouring across the border. We have a drug problem in this country. We have countless numbers of crimes. The blue states are increasing in their crime rates. Why are we building a new building in Washington, D.C. after all this, 20 years? Shouldn't we have FBI agents out in the field? And I think that's what the FBI needs to do, and I think Cash understands that.
Devin's killing it there. He's just talking about what we all know. And again, getting Cash over the finish line is going to be an interesting thing. It's going to take a lot of ripples from a lot of you all out there, by the way. We'll see how that plays out. Trump's pick for FBI director targeted by Iranian hackers, report says. There's a lot of fun around this this story, this speculation. And I actually think there's some truth to this, by the way, because this one kind of vibes with the groove that I'm getting, if you will. Cash Patel, supposedly he was one of the people that got hacked by Iran. But, and there was a place, I don't think they say it in this, I don't know if it's the next thing. No. I don't think they say it in here. I think it was the Post that posted this story. But there is speculation that Trump has kind of sent a message more back to them, basically saying, look, here's the deal. We know who hacked us. And there's a ginormous difference between state intelligence officials hacking these phones versus a foreign country. And of course, why are we blaming Iran? We need the place that we can cause World War III. We've already got max pressure going on Russia right now. Like, if you don't hate Russia right now, you're a pro-Russian pussy, right? Like, if something's wrong with you, right? Well, you got to hate Iran too right now, which is really, again, bugs the crap out of me. Like, one of my lab partner in college, like, he was just one of my dearest friends. I love the dude. Last name Zahedi. I had Hormazavzi the first time with this dude. He taught me how to say guzidi, which means you farted in Farsi. Knowing that has made so many Persian people laugh when I say it to them. It's one of the funniest damn things ever. They trip on it. They're like, you know what that means? I'm like, I totally know what that means. They laugh because it's an inappropriate word, but I'm allowed to say it. I don't know your language. I know how to say bless you if you sneeze, and I know how to say like yes and no and stupid stuff like that, but yeah, again, I don't hate people. There's no people on this planet anywhere. There's no people anywhere on this planet that I dislike. I dislike the deep state. I dislike the evil that needs love, really, but is ultimately not long for this world, probably, just the way it's going to play out. Again, unless they want to stick around and like have a hug fest, and we'll hug the hatred out of you. We'll hug it out of you, man. Florida Sheriff Chad Cronister. Again, names. I don't know, Cronister? Time is cron, typically. A cron job's a time job. Chronos is time. It's usually, I think, is it spelled this way? I feel like it's spelled with a K in the Greek way, but whatever. Chad Cronister withdraws as Trump's nominee to lead the DEA. He's like, I don't want to do this. I want to stay where I'm at, doing the thing I'm at. He's got like, what is he, sheriff or something like that? And he's just basically saying, I appreciate it, thank you, but no thank you. And I don't blame him. Like, the amount of crap he's likely going to get, so he's like a 4-star sheriff. I don't know if that's like just the top sheriff, is that how that is? But he's a sheriff. Which, again, we need good people in other places. And I wonder if there's a lot of moving targets. Hegseth is an interesting distraction. Cash would likely be the next, but they're kind of running out of time to a large extent. And then what happens to all these agencies that are trying to fight this stuff? FBI and stuff like that. Like, if the budget closes down, do they lose funding for background checks and stuff like that? Like, we just got to wait for background checks? Oh, shucks. FBI, you can't do the background check right now? Oh, would that be an emergency? It sounds like an emergency. It feels like one to me. We've got to shut down government. We're going to obviously have to push these appointments through. Oh, shucks. I can see how we can get there. And I think I'm maybe trying to help build some belief in that path. Maybe. Or maybe that's a legit path. It's hard to say, but that is a powerful path if you think about it. I'd be curious if you can throw some comments on that. We need to, again, ripples on that one. That's like one of those balloons you throw out there, right? Like, well, is that a good idea? And you raise your voice at the end and hope and pray that you get to the next place. So Chad Cronister, he's withdrawn from the game that we're going to call Trump. I am so long today, whatever. It is what it is. Sorry, folks. Some of you don't care. Some of you probably do. The Wall Street Journal is becoming more and more obnoxious and unreadable. Today's main headline is Trump's DEA pick pulls out the latest setback. This is Trump saying this, by the way. With all that's happening in the world, this is their number one story of the day. Besides, he didn't pull out. I pulled him out because I did not like what he said to my pastors and other supporters. But more importantly, what's my latest setback? I just won the presidency of the United States. They haven't written a good story about me in years. Somebody over there ought to look at what they're doing. The only one worse than them is stupid China-centric Forbes magazine. Again, websites, companies that need to crash. No one needs to buy them. Screw that. Why give the deep state any more money? No, you just go ahead and let that thing just crater on down into the ground. Hopefully, it goes so far into the ground like a ground-penetrating thing, it takes you straight to hell where you belong, probably. Again, I don't totally believe in that, but it works, especially here. Trump his attorneys anyway, file a motion to dismiss failed lawfare case in New York, citing Hunter Biden pardon. I mean, the headline works. Getting into there's no real data yet. They just filed paperwork, so we'll see. I think it's going to get shot down. I don't see there's a chance in hell. Elon Musk posted this. EPA advisor admits insurance policy against Trump funneling billions to climate organizations. We're throwing gold bars off the Titanic. He's basically saying, initially I had a couple screenshots, and then I went to the post that Musk had, and he shares this 2-minute video, and I haven't, 5 minutes? F. Yeah, that's more than I wanted. But yeah, he's finding out that the EPA is trying to spend money faster than possible because Trump's coming in. And again, the EPA was one of the ones where they were trying to fix who was in there. Because again, they want to keep the money flowing. These are the laundering sides. EPA is obviously one of the heavily laundered funnels. It's one of the pipes. DOJ is another. They funnel money out of that all over the place. Pentagon's another. Failed their audit in a major, major way. The Department of Education, another. Gobs of money are being funneled out of these places. The places that they care about, the people they attack, are the ones that threaten the most money. Know that. The ones they scream about the loudest affect the larger amounts of money. It's sometimes maybe hard to tell who's first, second, and third. Pentagon's got to be first. So you got Lindsey Graham and stuff like that are going to they're going to fight this in their weird way. Graham, you're already seeing it happen. For those of you that are kind of impartial and can actually sit back and watch a Republican that you think is a good person do stuff that's definitely... He's McCain, man. The dude's McCain. He's the McCain reincarnated. Actually, they were buddies back in Ukraine and everything else, but he's McCain. Lindsey Graham's going to have a wrinkled flag on his coffin the day that happens. Lindsey Graham will eventually be shown to us all. I know that's tough for some of you guys. I apologize. I'm not trying to be a dick. It'll come out, and if I'm wrong, I'll happily wear that hat. Or this one. Probably be wearing this one still, but then I'll metaphorically put on another hat. Yeah, and you'll see me do it. President Trump announces Peter Navarro is going to serve as the senior counselor for trade and manufacturing. It's like that's his perfect role. And I like the fact that he's one of the few people that's like, totally, I'll take my old job back. I love that job. That was awesome. And Peter, he's got an axe to grind as well. Spending some time in the pen and stuff, you know how it goes. He was in the cell block, the D block, yo. You know those D block guys. President Trump announces Daniel P. I've never been to prison, so I don't actually know. I don't. Probably just making shit up. I'm definitely making shit up. President Trump announces Daniel P. Driscoll. He's going to serve as the Secretary of the Army. So that's awesome. If that name means anything. I know I could pull up information on these people. Have you noticed how many appointments there are? I feel like reading them and then just getting through my stupid bullshit that's like an hour right there. President Trump nominated Jared Isaacman as administrator of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, a.k.a. NASA. So that's interesting. Jared Isaacman. He's got 2 A's in his name. Well, 3 A's in his name, really. Double A, MCO. He is doing well. I like that. All said. Can't help it. My brain's crazy. Michael Whatley from the great state of North Carolina has been with me since the beginning and has done an outstanding job, an historic job, in running the Republican National Committee. So he's going to stay there, Michael Whatley. And Michael Whatley was apparently stoked. I don't know if I managed to actually switch it. Yes. And he says, thank you, President Trump. There you go. I'd love to do that. I am happy to do that. President Trump taps Monica Crowley to serve as ambassador, Assistant Secretary of State, and Chief of Protocol of the United States of America. See, that's how we're making America great again. He just combined 3 jobs into one person. Biden's probably got 3 people doing that job, those 3 jobs. Can't say that job, huh? Unless I've got like one of those pronoun things in my name, then I could use that incorrectly, right? Him, hers, them, they. You can't call a person they. That's how I'd like to be referred to, as they. Huh? How about the? The? I'll give you the, but not they. I mean, yeah. President-elect Trump on Wednesday announced that he's going to nominate Gail Slater as head of the Justice Department's antitrust division. She's got a lot of big cases going on right now. This will be fun. I am sure she's the person we want in that position, and I look very much forward to hearing about all the crazy stuff that goes on. I want to remind you guys about MyPillow. We're heading into holiday season. They've got some good stuff. Do they still got them? I'm going to see. I mean, they got the pet beds. It's one of my favorite things. Oh, MyPillow and mattress. Whoa, down here at the bottom. You could literally get, it's probably a queen, $439. They literally can mail it to you, by the way. They can mail you a mattress. I'm not joking. $439.99. That's incredible, actually, because they are usually more than that. They got the cool pet beds that are under $25 now, which is incredible. Flannel sheets. This is the time of year for them. Yeah, they had the other slippers the other day. Oh, here they are, $9.50. I don't know if they got your size, right? They're probably down to like the goofy sizes right now. Like, what are you, size 16 for a woman? You're like, 16 for a woman? Are you transgendering, or is that like legit? And they're like, no, that's, yeah, legit. There's some women with giant feet. Well, they might have some of those. As I choke on my own words. $9.50, are you kidding me? Sandals and slippers, that's ridiculous. Yeah, coupon code's going to get you some action. So, yeah, check there first before you get anything, because I think they're pretty similar. We have the new ones going on. And by the way, once the other ones are sold out, it's just the new ones. I feel like they've dropped them off the site. I hope they don't listen to me, because they've got to like hate that. Like, Dan, you are a horrible salesperson. Are you kidding? No. I'm awesome. $19.99 for these. Are you one of those people that needs more pillows for your couch? Is that you? Or your wife? You can buy your wife some pillows, trust me. That's always pillows. They seem to love, ladies, you love pillows, right? Someone, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Whatever the case is, mypillow.com/OTF. It's like a gateway into like heaven. Sleeping properly. I'm loving my classic pillow. I'm noticing, I've talked to, guys, this is like a transition. Like for a year and a half, I've been using the 2.0. And I went back to the classic. How long was it? I don't know, week, 2 weeks, somewhere around there. I don't know, week or two. And I am seriously noticing a difference. I'm not trying to make you guys like hate your 2.0s. No, your 2.0s are awesome. And I've just been a weirdo my whole life. My neck, the way I sleep. I've been hitting the back sleep again almost, I don't know, I'm probably up to about 70% of the night now, or more, maybe a little. I'm impressed. It's increased for sure. I am enjoying my back sleep more again. Make back sleep great again. I don't know what's going on. Whatever the case is, this is the crazy parts about what happened. So my pillows are going to be showing up to me, God, probably today. Honestly, now that I think about it, I'll be funny. We'll talk tomorrow. See if I'm right. I think so. I'll be surprised if they're not here today. I got the king size versions of them. I've never used the king size. I'm using my queen size from my original condo where I only had a queen size bed. Now, life is different. MyPillow.com/OTF. MyPillow.com/OTF. They've got so much cool stuff. That coupon code's going to save you a bunch of money. You get free shipping over $75. This time of year, that's like 3-4 things on here. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you've ever had. And dry yourself off the best in the morning. Dude, they're towels. Yeah, $29.98. Huh. Seriously, best stuff you're going to use. It's incredible products. Incredible products. mypillow.com/OTF. OTF coupon code is the important part of that adventure. South Korea's opposition parties move to impeach President Yoon Suk over his little whole martial law thing yesterday that didn't last long, seemed to have potentially stopped a coup. Something weird was happening. And I don't think coups are good guy people things. So I'm wondering if Yoon is like the Trump of maybe South Korea. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. In fact, I haven't really seen anyone of any sort of credibility guesstimate on it. The way he's being attacked and sidelined and he did something. He's like, nah, it's cool. Like I stopped what just about happened. Like he knew what was about to happen. He did something that allowed him to do something shortly. And now he's going to see if he can weather the storm. I don't know. That's how it feels to me. It's what it seems like to me. We'll keep it on our radar and find out. Detroit mayor is going to ditch the Democratic Party, and she's going to run for Michigan governor as an independent. Just saying, that's pretty awesome. And for the reasons that you would expect. He's like, most people in this country, probably true, don't like the Republican Party, don't like the Democrat Party. And he's like, I just don't want to be a part of that. No offense, that's kind of where I am. Like, there's some good Republicans for sure. I think there's some good Democrats. They're just afraid to ever admit it. But ultimately, yeah, it's just, it's like a party that has an opposition. Like, independent doesn't really have an opposition, do we? We can kind of get along with anybody. That's the fun of being independent, is like you can get along with anybody. Anybody. Because you don't have to disagree with them. Republicans have to disagree with Democrats. It's just one of the weird little baked-in things, and it sucks. U.S. seizes $1.9 billion from Silk Road and deposited it in Coinbase wallet for Bitcoin. They got a crap ton of Bitcoin. 19,800 Bitcoin. How many of you guys just stared like, fuck, God, I wish I had that many Bitcoin. I bet you do, because that's worth literally $1.9 billion. You'd be Elon Musk, except you wouldn't really know how to be Elon Musk, because you would be super rich all of a sudden, and you'd be like a lottery winner and probably go broke in a matter of a year or two. It'd be hard to spend $2 billion, though, right? Like, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people are like, I could do it. Give me a chance. And see, but that's the problem. That's the problem right there. Supreme Court seems likely to uphold ban on gender-affirming care. This is a thing with Tennessee and them being able to outlaw it. I think the Supreme Court right now is very pro-states' rights, and I think to a large extent that's how this should be. Again, you want to get your kid transgendered, then you're going to go to another state to do it. But odds are, if you're literally that crazy about it, and he knew when he was 2, then you'll probably go to wherever you got to go. So I'm sure there's going to be some crazy states that, will have slip and slides and gender reassignments all in the same day. It's just such a lovely experience. It's like a children's spa. Tennessee's trying to regulate this kind of stuff. Supreme Court, and many of them. Kavanaugh, who do we have? There's 3 of them. The 3 major Supremes. Yeah, Justice Roberts, Coney Barrett, and Kavanaugh. All of them came down and seem to come down on the Tennessee side. This hasn't been released yet, but it feels very... Tennessee's going to probably win this in the end. This is going to allow states to basically ban transgender drugs to minors. Want to do it later in life? That's fantabulous. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was fatally shot outside a Hilton Hotel in Midtown. It's over there in New York, of course. This happened, and it seems to be targeted. The dude was literally just shot down in broad daylight. Oh, they do have the picture. Cool. I actually pulled that up separately. But yeah, surveillance image captured the murder suspect outside Midtown Hotel, pulls a gun, two-handed shot, and then takes off on a bike. I worked at a grocery store one time that got robbed by a dude. He took a bike and literally rode it through a cornfield and managed to escape the authorities. I was impressed. First off, he just rode a bike through a cornfield. That's kind of cool, right? All the spiders and stuff, it freaked me out. But yeah, I don't know how much money he got either, for that matter. I was in the back with, it was a fun night. This is the second time I was robbed, but he didn't actually see me, so I just got to be a bystander, if you will. That was much nicer than having someone stick a gun to your head. That was a different game altogether. Different game. Whole different experience. So this dude shot the CEO, Brian Thompson, fatally. Now, a lot of weird stuff. There's the wanted, and they're wanting money for it. And he's riding a bike, so his gait's not going to help us any. No, I know. Smart. See? Some are saying professional hit. Story gets much stranger. Earlier this year, United Health Group experienced a massive healthcare data breach brought about by a hacker group named Black Cat that affected the personal information of over 100 million people. United Healthcare is a subsidiary of the United Health Group. They are connected. The entire healthcare sector was shaken, and now one of the CEOs was just shot to death by what seemed like a professional assassin. I suspect these threads are connected if we pull on it. United Healthcare worker CEO Brian Thompson, he was facing a DOJ investigation and lawsuit when he was shot. This dude had an investigation going into him. They launched a probe into whether the nation's biggest insurer, led by Thompson, was unfairly restricting competitors and running a monopoly. So this guy maybe said something. This is how the game. Watch the movies we've seen, right? Who gets offed like that? People that have talked. And of course, there's always the scene before they get offed where they're like, so what'd you guys talk about? What were you talking about? It's always an Italian movie, right? What were you guys talking about? I didn't say anything, man. I swear, I didn't sell you out, man. Well, you had to talk about something, right? I'm sure the guy didn't just say, hey, you know anything about such and such? And you said, no. And he's like, all right, you can go now. Or do you think maybe he asked some extra questions? I don't know, my accent's changing. You notice? Yeah, I've noticed. I'm not using my hands. That's why. And of course, the guy continues to play the game. No. And then, and there's always a scene where he knows he's about to die. It's not usually the back. You know that, right? No. This dude, I don't know whether he got shot in the back or not. He went down Clinton style. Which almost has to make you wonder, because this is kind of how the Clintons roll, right? Who knows? Each of them tends to have their signature thing, right? The Obamas, they like to drown people. That's the fun thing. They somehow just drowned in, somehow an inch of water. It's like, how'd he drown in an inch of water? I don't know. If looks like he has a boot print in the back of his neck. Dude, don't say that out loud. Don't say that out loud. I mean, he fell into it somehow and probably passed out in the inch of water. Prominent Black Lives Matter activists behind protests targeting Daniel Perry. So he's managed to get about 50 people out there that have been calling him a murderer and a racist and all this. Again, because he killed a guy that was threatening other people that happened to be black, I guess. But really, race shouldn't come into play in either side. But the prosecution acknowledged him as a white man when she started the case on the opening statement. So, opening remarks or whatever they call it. So this whole thing is meant to be the race bait. Was this supposed to be the next Floyd thing? I definitely doesn't have the power. No matter what happens, even if they let Daniel Perry off, which he should, I can't imagine them pulling. This is a bum. Not anybody of anything. He didn't have a family. There's none of the things. He didn't have any cool slogans that he said right before dying. Things are changing quickly. Charlie Kirk posted Inner City Press. Penny's lawyer, Kenneth. It was improper for ADA Yoron to tell the jurors there could be a light sentence if they find him guilty. If that happens, it will be interesting to see what the people ask for. The DA's office is urging reporting of no minimum sentence. And Charlie Kirk's like outrageous to try to trick a jury into convicting Daniel Penny. Penny. New York's prosecutors are suggesting that he could get a very lenient sentence. In reality, he faces up to 15 years in prison, and once they have their guilty verdict in hand, prosecutors can try to be as harsh as they like. A longtime New York attorney tells me this behavior is disgusting and overtly sleazy. I'm not an attorney, but I could certainly tell you that's disgusting and overtly sleazy. Supposedly, an ex-bodyguard of O.J. Simpson claims to have a flash drive, thumb drive, whatever, of O.J. admitting that he killed Nicole and Ronald, for that matter, probably. Interesting that he potentially has admitted to it. Supposedly this evidence has made it. I'm curious which courts got it. I don't know if I didn't remember seeing SDNY or New York Southern District, right? NYSD or whatever. I don't know where they've got. Oh, LAPD. So it's the secondary place, maybe. Which again, I think the place over here is just as jacked up as New York. But we are going to fix it. We are fixing it. It's happening. It's just painfully long and painful process, but it is what it is. Many things going on. Appointments are kind of a weird thing. They're a moving target. People are going to drop. There's weird things happening, and it's intentional. It's whack-a-mole. They're putting people out there to I think a lot of this is kind of way more known than not known, and I think Trump is trying to get ahead of the game too. And he's not playing the game the way the deep state wants him to. We're coming at this a whole new way. And I would say one of the big threats that we currently hold right now is the ability to hold back a budget. We own the House. We own it currently, and we own it future. too. So we have the ability to make this work for us. How this plays out, what they do, it's going to be a fun little ride. That's all I can say. Yeah. Grab the popcorn. This is probably the best part of the movie, and then we're just gonna. Well, I don't know. That's hard. No, this is a very good part of the movie. I think the best part's still yet to come. That's probably better, closer to the truth. I love you guys. I hope you keep fighting with me. I'm looking forward to it. Make your ripples as best and broadly and best way you like it, and the most way you have fun doing it. Make your ripples in the world and make them count. Because we are the people that are examples for others. The teacher of teachers. You guys are rock stars. Keep it up. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.